To my beloved instructor, to my fellow future public administration, a fruitful day. Today, I will show you a short clip about Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. Please stay on the line and I'll get back to you shortly.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
To give you some insights about the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. So, the main purpose of the Gettysburg Address at the time it was given was to commemorate a new national cemetery at Gettysburg. It also gave Lincoln purpose for pushing on to win the Civil War, the abolition of slavery, and the reunification of the Union. In it, he invoked the principles of human equality contained in the Declaration of Independence and connected the sacrifices of the war or the Civil War with a desire for a new birth of freedom, as well as the all-important preservation of the Union created in 1776 and its ideal of self-government. So let me also imply or share to you the most powerful line of the Gettysburg Address is that all men are created equal. On November 19, 1863 in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Abraham Lincoln gives his most famous speech as president. This address takes place at Union Cemetery after the Battle of Gettysburg and is meant to help mourn the loss of the soldiers that died. But it did way more than that. The Gettysburg Address is one of the most important speeches given during the time of the Civil War. This speech encapsulates everything that the United States was struggling with during that time. Abraham Lincoln is able to use this speech as a sign of hope for the thousands of people who have lost it. The Gettysburg Address embodies what our country stands for, but also show why the United States is a great country. Though the struggle of the war was its climax, Lincoln was able to bring a sense of security to the people of the Union. The beginning of this speech sets the tone for the message Lincoln is trying to convey. In his address, he states, "Fourscore and 7 years ago, our father brought forth upon this continent, a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. In the famous quote, he is trying to make the statement that this country is founded on the principle of equality, and his plan to do all he can to make it stay that way. So many people in the country at that time just wanted the country to come back together on the principles it was founded on. Another point Lincoln tries to make in his address is that you can't forget the events that are unfolding throughout the war. He says, "That we here highly resolve this dead shall not have died in vain, that the nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government by the people, for the people, shall not perish from earth." Lincoln is trying to tell the people of the Union and the rest of the divided country that we have to protect the principles that the men on the battlefield are fighting for, and we can't let them die in vain. He also sends a beacon of hope to many people throughout, saying that we are still a country for the people and it will not change. To conclude, the Gettysburg Address is one of the most influential speeches of its time, and it is still known around the United States today. Lincoln was able to convey a message of hope and determination when it was hard to have either of them. He spoke of the principle our countries were founded on and why we cannot forget the importance of each event of the Civil War. The effect of this war still echoes throughout our everyday lives. The address is able to embody everything we stand for as a country, and it will forever be known as one of the best speeches given by a president. Before this presentation ends, I would like you to listen and watch the song about the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. Thank you.
In 1863, the Yankee Army met the rebel cavalry. The Yanks followed Meade, the Rebs followed Lee. Locked in bloody battle, each fought for victory. The Union held the high ground, the Confederates took the fields. The battle lasted 3 long days, over 50,000 were killed. We lost a lot of blues and we lost a lot of grays. Smoke and fire filled the air in Gettysburg 3 days. Gettysburg 3 days. See the smoke and the fire on the battlefield, where men lay dying and men lay killed. Hell raged on, their fate was sealed. The rebels crossed the open ground where fury and fire and lead rained down. The Union soldiers held the wall as the rebels charged into the bugle call. Through the smoke and the fire on the battlefield, where men lay dying and men lay killed. Hell raged on, their fate was sealed. We lost a lot of blues and we lost a lot of grays. Smoke and